Okay, as announced, a very nice moment. Also, our two dear jury members, Maja Gehrig and Zurich University finished their hard job yesterday, and now today is a time to relax, but also a time to talk a little bit more about what you do, because actually both is interesting that you don't have so many films that actually it would be impossible to have a retrospective of your work separately, yes. But I'm really proud that actually it's like also what you will show us and you will talk about your work. Quantity is not the most important thing, so quality should be there, and you are both working in a very specific way on your films. Maybe it takes too long time from one to another. With Maja that will present first, we screened at the opening of the festival 2 of her films. Amourette, it's a stop motion puppet animation about puppets having sex, very beautiful one. And Average Happiness was screened already 2 times, also in the Her Story program yesterday, as well as at the opening. And I'm so happy because Average Happiness is the film that won the Grand Prix at the last online edition of Animateca, and somehow it's nice to have you here, you know, in order to understand, because you are the first time at our festival, so it was a really great moment that, and thank you, Maja, that you traveled, that you were not afraid of this really strange time we are living. So the floor is yours. Please tell us more about you.
Okay. Hello. Hello, everyone. Oh, I think I have to put this a bit more like this. Okay, so Igor invited me in the jury of Animateca 2021. And he said, Maja, you are going to do a master class. Maybe now we have to switch to my computer. Oh, it is here. So I thought, oh, master class. It is a little bit, for me, the same thing like the retrospective thing. I made some work, very different one. But this word masterclass made me think, what am I going to put as a title image? And I decided for a very old portrait of mine, where I have a beard, that somehow I connect to this masterclass word. So that's why this is here. It's actually a LP where I put my hair through the eyes of this guy. Then second thought was, what can I say about my work, like not a specific project. I think what is maybe the mutual thing of my films I did so far is that they are always working with different techniques and telling stories in very different ways. And the mutual thing is that for me, this is maybe a bit obvious, but the idea comes first, and then I choose the technique, how I'm going to do the film or tell the story or make the image or the universe that I would like to have. So since Amourette and Average Happiness have been shown at the festival, I decided to tell you a bit more about how the ideas came for these films first, and then I would like to enter a bit on detail in Average Happiness, because that's the most recent work and I can show you the most insights in the process, working process and process of the dramaturgy. So with Amourette, it was actually a little bit complicated how this idea came. I was making visuals for the diploma work of my composer that I work most with. Her name is Joy Frempong. And you can also see that it is already a long time ago that Amourette was made. It was made in 2009, it was finished. So it was a bit this time when me and my best friends were graduating. So before making this film, I did these visuals for this composer, and I projected animations on sandpaper, and I liked very much this texture of the sandpaper together with the light. So this was the first moment of the sandpaper obsession, maybe. And then I did, for another friend, I did some scenography for her final project. She was studying fashion. And for some reason, I thought it would be nice to have a parquet, a floor made out of sandpaper, which was a completely stupid idea. It was much too expensive and also not very practical. But from that came this idea of having a floor made out of sandpaper. And then I had these figurines around me, like just in my room. And then I was thinking, if these puppets would actually have sex on a sandpaper, that could be maybe an idea for a film. Why I tell you this in detail? Because I think details are important. This is maybe the other the other thing I am a bit obsessed with. And in this film, I think it is also interesting when you work so long on a film, like 3 to 5 years. There is like a whole situation beside the film, like your life, what you are experiencing, what is maybe absolutely not, has nothing to do with the film or is connected to the film. And with Amourette, it used to be a distance relationship, and this gave me also kind of this theme of getting lost into lust and have this very strong, very, very intense feeling about being together, maybe. So now with Average Happiness, it was faster and easier. I wanted to show to you a quick, a short extract of the film, because I don't know if anybody has seen it. So it is like a 1-minute extract of the film. So maybe the lights, yeah, thank you.
La fascination des gens, ils sont là. Ils vont. Ils cœurent d'une bise. On a ça. Ils flippent, font le corps. Avant, début, après la fin. Et voilà. Et là, qu'est-ce qu'on voit là? On voit les paternalisants dans les concerts. On voit les parnaissants du corps. Silence, c'est bon, c'est rond, c'est danse. Et voilà. Et jamais fatigant dans ce kirt, il commence. Sans fin, sans début, sans là. C'est toi, c'est lui, c'est elle. Quelle fatigue.
Yeah, so with Average Happiness, the idea was actually finding me much quicker. I was writing a proposal for another project, and I had to enclose an Organigramm. That's the German word for a flowchart. And for some reason, I wrote and said Onaniegramm instead, and Onanie in German means masturbation. So this was like the starting point to make a film about statistical diagrams who are erotic. And then it was quite a long process to find a dramaturgy for this idea. And in the beginning it was much more related to this masturbation idea, also because I made this connection between the idea that actually statistics and studies quite often are just don't really have a purpose than to stand for itself, in my opinion, that they want to prove themselves valid. So I thought this is a connection with this masturbation for me. But then during this whole process of the film and of the development, it changed somehow more to about the topic about being objective or subjective, and actually having a hidden beauty in these graphs, and having a sensual journey through this world of statistics. So I would like to show you a very short, very first test that has never been shown before of the first Onaniegramm tryout.
Nice job, team.
So it was a little idea, little playing around with this masturbation topic, and it didn't work at all. But sometimes for me it is good to try things out to get rid of it, because otherwise they stay and they ask to come back. And when I try it out and I see it doesn't work, then I can get rid of it. And then I was applying for funding. And I was doing more graphic works and more ideas, and I wanted, for me it was very important that all the diagrams were found footage, because partly what fascinates me about this statistic world is that we are surrounded by it. We were also before COVID times, but now even more. And for me, this was mainly the main topic or the main theme of the film. So I wanted to use statistics that existed. I was searching in the internet for different topics, different shape of diagrams, and I arranged them behind each other so I could like make correlations of diagrams that had nothing to do with each other, like weapon sales or the density of the gold in Olympic medals and things like that. So this was like one of the first images that went to development proposal. And then I thought, yeah, there is quite a lot of grids and a lot of coordinate systems. What happens when I put black behind this assemblage of these bar charts? And then I saw a skyline. And this was actually I think, very important for me to dramaturgically, because this was like the start of the setup of these diagrams in a city. And I was working quite closely, like this is the final city of the film. And I was working quite closely together with Paul Busch, who was like dramaturgical support, like a sparring partner a little bit. And when he saw these images I had of the city, he was telling me that I should check out the City Symphony films, like a very famous one is Symphonie einer Großstadt in Berlin, because what was really good to have was kind of a dramaturgy that didn't work with characters, but still had some sort of a structure in a way that everything plays in the same place and in a certain amount of time. So basically this was the beginning of the decision to tell this idea in one day in Diagram City. So this is another example. So I was collecting different scenes in this city, was thinking of different scenes using different diagram types, and I got quite into these population pyramids. And as I like to work with sound from the very beginning of my films, this is also a common thing in all the films, that I start very early in doing sound design and sound. And especially with Average Happiness, I had no storyboard, I had no animatic, it was just scenes that I put it on a timeline, I exchanged, I tried to find transitions. And for me it was really important to work with sound very early. And actually the sound designer was then just replacing sounds or making it a bit more rich. but basically I did like the first rough sound edit of this film. And here I brought you some very early tests with this population pyramid, this replacement animation I did with those, and with different sounds. So these were pigeon sounds, and I thought it had something to do with the city surrounding. But at that time there was the time of the Arabic Spring and quite a lot of riots and demonstrations. So I thought that this is actually fitting better to these population pyramids, because somehow I think it is really interesting to have, like in these diagrams, you have a whole population of a whole country about different, in a time scale that is quite big, from maybe 1916 to 2020 or whatever. And I like this idea that there is like one body or one diagram representing so many people behind. So I did another test with these riot sounds I found. And on the other hand, these population pyramids reminded me on pine trees in other layouts that I did in other city images, and that gave me this idea to freeze them all of a sudden in a forest. And I will show you the final extract of Average Happiness that is related to these tests. It was also the first scene that stayed in the timeline at that spot where I put it first. So I had my beautiful city that I liked a lot. But I also wanted to have the diagrams in an abstract space, like as a single diagram moving and showing their beauty. So for me it was necessary to have another dramaturgical element, and I thought of a PowerPoint presentation. So I was looking for different lectures on the internet because I wanted to have found footage as well. So I checked out TED Talks, which were too selling, and I really wanted to have something jargony, but not too annoying, like that you would doze off and not really listen to what is the content of the lecture, but you could somehow get the situation that you are in when you are dozing off and dreaming of something else. And I found the lectures of Chris Brooks, and this is Chris Brooks.
So what is regression analysis? Well, essentially, regression analysis is concerned with describing and evaluating the relationship between a given variable, which we call a dependent variable, and one or more other variables, usually known as the independent variables. So the essential idea here is that we've got some theory that suggests that two or more variables should be related to one another in a particular way.
So he's going on like that for 1.5 hours. And there are 7 lectures. And he's very strong in his field of econometrics. And this is like a field that tries to implement mathematics to foretell like the situation on the finance market. And I think it was really interesting because I contacted him. I had to ask permission to use his lecture. And the lecture is already 15 years old. So it's just around on YouTube. And of course, in the beginning, he was a bit doubting whether he wants to be part of a film that treats statistical diagrams as erotic beings. But somehow I could convince him that I was not up to dull jokes. And it was quite easy. We had only contact by email, so I don't know how he sounds now and how he looks now, which is interesting because I was working with these hours of material and taking little bits out of them to make my own lecture. So it got somehow quite intimate to listen to this voice, and I like his voice a lot because it's he's completely nerdy, but at the same time it's very nice to listen to this voice for me. And then, sorry, the quality is not so good, but this is the book of Chris Brooks. He just recently made a book to these lectures, and he actually took an image out of Average Happiness as a cover. So for me also this topic of statistics and actually the stuff that I did the film with opened the door to a complete other world than art world, because people who are dealing with statistics daily, they love the film mostly. They really are into it, and I get some also requests to show the film in certain like in certain other contexts, and I really like that. So this is Chris Brooks' story, and that's what I made with his voice, to be able to show the diagrams in a wide abstract room. And he had actually big problems with this scene because he thought that he doesn't sound professional. So I had to convince him it's not about him, it's about the filmic story, and then he was okay.
So the way that we get around this problem is to add what's called a random disturbance term, whose movements cause movements in one or more other variables. The movements that cause the variables that we're trying to explain.
Yeah, so I took all the airs, there weren't many, to do this little scene. I'm actually surprising myself. Sorry. Yeah, then last but not least, it was also the question of how I would animate these graphs. I liked somehow to really work also with this kind of a bit maybe stiff way how they look, and try to hack that a bit, but not too much. And for also very early in the project, for the proposal, I was constructing everything in After Effects. The whole film is made in After Effects. And I made like different state of the diagram, like in the normal situation, in the erected situation, and after the climax. And I was erasing anchor points in the timeline. I was just jumping from one to the other. And then I watched it, how it looked in between, and it gave me these crazy shapes and very beautiful wavy movements that at least I would not think of as an animator. So it was kind of random. So I use this quite a lot, this mistake thing that you should never do in After Effects, just erase anchor points in the timeline. But it gave me these special movements, and I had to fix, sometimes I had to fix diagrams frame by frame, parts that I wanted to control the animation, and part where I wanted to have these gifts that you get from working with coincidences. So then I showed it to many people, always, like it was, stuff was on the timeline, it was getting fuller and fuller, there were less and less gaps. And then somebody asked, but why are they getting erotic all of a sudden? And I was like, oh. You don't get it, right? Okay. And then I was working with this cursor because it's part of the world of PowerPoint presentation, and I cannot look at the cursor anymore in a normal way. I see everywhere these cursors, and I have this special thing for this cursor thing. So the cursor in Average Happiness is like a narrator, and it's also the Deus Ex Machina force who is actually taking the PowerPoint presentation out of hands of the lecturer. And it's maybe also a bit myself who is doubting that you can have anything proven in this world. So I would like to show you a short extract, the last one, where you can see how I use the cursor as a dramaturgical element.
Average happiness. Earnings per share. Gender of workforce. 4 turns. Scattered economies check counterbalancing growth. Natural interest into mutual fund AO. Flexible operate extent probability.
So that was the extract. And now I'm already at the end of the presentation because I would really appreciate if we had time for questions. And I will end this with Chris Brooks.
And we could look at many other examples if we wanted to, but they would all work in the same way.
Thank you. It would be lovely to have some light in the audience.
Yeah, we'll have some light. We'll put the slide in the background as well. And let's hope that we have 10 minutes for discussion, which is good.
Super.
Then we'll do a 5-minute break for Zetkin to prepare. You were mentioning Walter Ruttmann, Berlin and Grosse Stadtsymphonie. That was pointed out, you were saying, by Paul Bush to you. What about Norman McLaren, Ligne Verticale, Ligne Horizontale, and all these great abstract, we could call them animation for sound, animation for music pieces that were there from the 30s, 40s. Were you paying attention as well then to see
No. No, and I really thought of it just recently, and I have some other idea, a similar idea. I have many ideas. I don't know what is next with time schedules. And there I thought I should really take a very close look to these early abstract things. Because with Average Happiness, it was, many people said, you should look at this and you should check out the data visualization. But for me, I think what I really liked and what I think also works very well, that it is a very naive approach to these shapes. And somehow I had to be quite pure and of influences to reach that. But I think for the time schedule, it would be really interesting, especially Ruttmann.
Are there questions? You didn't speak about the music, because
Yeah.
it's another element that is really essential to give the rhythm and to give this distorted voice. So maybe a few words about that choice and how you did it?
Yeah, I mean, Joy and me, this is already the 3rd film we do together, Joy Frimpong. And she's originally coming from jazz, doing more pop. And I really like that she's not a film composer. And we just started at the same moment. For her, it's horrible because she's making so many propositions, and then sometimes I'm so occupied by the image and my dramaturgical other problems. For example, the one that is in the beginning of the film and also in the end, it were the very first sketches she made, and I put it in the very end and asked, what do you think? And especially this climax sequence was taking us forever because we had different ideas about it. She wanted to have a slowdown in the climax, and I had the feeling it should accelerate. So it was quite a long process. But and we are very different. She is completely introvert and modest person. And I always have to be very careful and ask her, are you satisfied? I'm going to change it, I promise you. And then I have to wait for some days unless I'm sure that she's okay with it. And because we were living together when we were 20 and having this friendship, it is working now. But we always come to this point where we have this moment of takeover. And then, but for me, it's only done when she's okay. For example, in this city scene in the beginning, there was a version, the version is now in the film actually, that I liked a lot about her singing, but she was technically not satisfied, and she did other versions. And then I said, you pick. I know I like this version better, and then in the end she agreed that it is better. So there is like giving space to your composer, I think, is very crucial for me.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. It's really nice to have a sort of in-depth view of a process. I appreciate also what you're saying about your ways of working, and I think it's quite a crucial thing in how you approach collaboration, having this, okay, so it's not the music needs to be done and it's, you know, you have 1 week for it, or having a limited amount of time, but sort of this having the, allowing the time also to the other person who is, in a sense, just part of the process to be okay with it, but at the same time taking the step to having it your film. Basically a comment, not a question really.
Thank you.
Can I step in? Because it's, okay, this should be a completely different panel discussion, but I think that both you and Zetkin has said at the beginning, not having so many, a big track record of what you did. Is it also that when you don't have nothing to say, or you have to wait for a long time before you are sure that you have a story that it will be worth to execute and start, like looking for production and producing. So this, how it's called, like creative stop, or?
I don't know why, because
creative blocking.
It is like I had the idea for Every Happiness in 2011 while I was working on Queen Bum. So it's not that I don't have the ideas, but I have to feel with what I want to spend all this time with. And I'm also afraid of starting, probably.
But once you start, then nobody can stop you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely stubborn person.
Yeah. But is there what then, like reading, walking, just trying not to think about, and then suddenly like an idea appears, or how like personally you are confronting those?
Can absolutely not say. For me, it helps when I ask for funding. It's like a promise, and then I have to finish it. But I am absolutely incapable to get ideas without talking to people. So I tried this when I was graduating. I went to a mountain hut for 2 weeks because I thought I would find a topic, and then nothing happened. Nothing, just nothing. And when I came back immediately, I got, so maybe it is some sort of boredom and then talk with people.
You mentioned Queen Bam,
Königin Po.
Königin Po. And actually we saw some images, and it's the only film for children that you did. Why it was enough one time, or like what? You made it because your child was younger at the time, and it was kind of like a...
He was not there then.
He was not there yet?
I finished it when Casimir was 4 weeks old. We had to finish the film. It was horrible. But yeah, I think it was an idea that I had already since a long time in my head, that my father and me invented this world, and then I wanted to make it. Also a little bit to get rid of the idea, maybe. I don't like this idea to make films for children. I think the funders and also TV is much more interfering with your freedom as an artist. It is like they say, but children don't like this. And on the other hand, I can also see now what Casimir likes and what he doesn't like, so partly I understand the point. But on the other hand, I mean, you also not say children like sweets and hamburgers, so just feed them those. So it is kind of the variety, but it is much more difficult to find the audience when you are not promoted. You know, like the adults find the films, but kids, it is much more difficult. So for me, it was interesting. I also made a lot of test screening and interviews with kids for this film, and I like kids a lot. But I think I leave it to other people to do children's film. Unless I have an idea.
Chance for the last question? 2. Wow.
Hi. I remember at the beginning you said that you use different kind of styles. So
You what? Sorry?
you said at the beginning that you use different kind of styles.
Yeah.
That you like to change, which I somehow got attached to that because I also have this need of changing styles a lot, and I see a lot of animators and filmmakers. When they choose a style, they like to stay with one. Like it's a common need in Europe and world that it's when you have your style, you got to represent yourself. So I would like to just ask what's your opinion on that. And the second question is, how do you find inspiration for the style? Because you said first you have the story, and then after you start with visual.
Yeah, I mean, it's very different where I find the style. And I don't think, like, I envy people who are working with one style, actually. And I don't think it is because they want to represent themselves, because they found something they want to investigate in depth. And for this, I have complete understanding. And for me, it's just not possible, because I have a different mind. I like to put things together that have nothing to do together. I think we all are in a certain way, but maybe I need a bigger field of tension to get creative.
I mean, it's silly because I had the same question and we have the same brain. We work together, so it's no connection. So I will just improvise now. Maybe we are both not from animation world, and I know you're a teacher as well. So if you would, answer a cliche question, like give us an advice, what would you say, as an advice to to new, fresh animators or filmmakers who did not go to schools for it?
Well, I think you can find so much inspiration for animation everywhere. You can find it in theater, you can find it in art, in visual art, in painting, you can find it in film, in documentary. this is what is interesting for me about animation, is that it has dance in it, choreography, stage, drawing, painting, everything. So it is like stay inspired, and yeah, don't be afraid of starting things, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that was a good point. Also, you are teaching at the Lucerne Academy of Fine Arts Animation Department, where you were telling me that the school was changing towards some more commercial way of maybe like not teaching, but the results. And you are one of the few, or not, if not the only one, that you will stay with experimental. Or maybe you tell us a little bit about this and what you try to achieve at your classes with the students.
I think it's not commercial, it's maybe more professional. Yeah, I mean, I was asking quite directly to the head of the department. I said I would like to teach, and then he asked, what can you do? And I was like, oh, what can I do? What can I really do to teach, you know? And maybe it is really that, find inspiration, experiment, and try out. And I think the school is very open to different things, but the question is more what is treasured. And this is made by the group, by the students, but also by the teachers who work there. So I think if teachers change, then also the whole setup changes. But I mean, the biggest problem the school in Lucerne has is 3 years and 30 students. And I think this is the main thing. And this, when we discuss stuff in the team, it is always that is the measurement. So you have maybe 15 people who really want to go to the industry and not doing their own films, and that's fine. But I think there should be like niches or special courses that target the ones that are like us, or me, or Sutkin. So I also intend to at least in my courses, to invite people from abroad and to try to get like a buffet to the students, what is possible. Yeah.
Good. Last chance? Yeah, there is one more. So it's starting slowly, you know, the discussion. It will go on until 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I've got one question concerning film funds in Switzerland. I've heard there's also like the TV channels are supporting money. Is that right? Or
yeah, they are forced to do it by us and the law. So TV, public TV has to invest a certain amount of money in Swiss filmmaking. And every 4 years we fight how much is for animation, how much is for fiction, how much is for documentary, how much goes into cinema productions, and how much go into TV productions.
is there also like, I've also heard there's like a regional fund and also from the state, so there's like 3 possibilities, right?
Yeah, there is the National Film Fund, which is, I think, I think Cyprus also has not a real film institute. Switzerland doesn't have a real film institute, so it's very complicated, the national fund, but it's a big fund. And then you have regional funds, and that works very different in the French part of Switzerland. There is one regional fund for the whole French area, and in German part of Switzerland there is for every little canton, how we call these regions, is a different film fund, and Zurich is the biggest one.
Can you tell us maybe if you're allowed what was the budget for average happiness, so we just, all of us just...
Yeah, it was around 200,000 Swiss francs, a bit less. It's quite a lot actually what you can get.
170,000 euro.
Yeah.
Okay, I think, Maja Gehrig, thank you very, 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 very much.
Thank you for the questions.